to talk about the presidential pardon list. Now, spokesperson to President Bola Tinubu, Bayo Onanuga, has defended his principal's decision to revise the presidential pardon list, describing the move as a demonstration of strength rather than weakness. On Wednesday, Tinubu ordered the removal of persons convicted for kidnapping, drug trafficking, human trafficking, fraud, and unlawful possession of firearms from the list of beneficiaries under the federal government's prerogative of mercy. Onanuga said Nigerians should recognize that the president is human and capable of making mistakes. He emphasized that Tinubu is attentive to public opinion and willing to correct errors. And so to discuss this, we're joined by public affairs analyst Moses Idika. Moses, it's nice to have you around. Now, the recent presidential pardon list under President Tinubu sparked widespread criticism over alleged irregularities. But then from your perspective, were you genuinely concerned, or do you see it as an issue in terms of the names included and the nature of the crimes pardoned?
Good evening. You can hear me, right?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes. For once, I'm very happy with the decision of President Bola Tinubu over the pardon he had earlier granted to some very, very annoying criminals, as there were, because if you look at the initial list, 175 persons, and most of the people that populated that list were people that committed crimes against Nigeria as a state and Nigerians. Kidnappers, armed robbers, people that engage in illegal mining. Recall that illegal mining is the cause of the bloodletting in Northwest, especially in Zamfara State and Niger State, and in some other parts of the country, where illegal miners collude with criminals to control illegal mining sites. So those were the kind of persons that populated the list of people that benefited from the presidential pardon. They also included kidnappers. We know what kidnappers have been doing across the country, from the Niger Delta to the North Central to Southeast and everywhere. Kogi State, especially Ondo, and all manner of places in Nigeria. So when you also look at it, the issue of Mrs. Miriam Sanda, who also had this celebrated murder case, she was convicted of killing her husband, and several other drug dealers, people that were whose in their possession cocaine were confiscated. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency worked their hearts off. They risked their lives, arrested them, prosecuted them, used public funds to prosecute them in the courts. And they were eventually convicted, only for such persons to surface in the pardon list, where you have thousands of awaiting people who had awaited trial for minor, sometimes domestic issues, sometimes minor thefts. They have been on awaiting trial for more than 10, 20 years. They are bound across all our correctional centers in the country.
Yeah.
None of those people made the list. So it was a surprise that such persons made the list. So it's a kind of reassuring for Mr. President to reverse that earlier decision.
Okay, so, I mean, we're talking about a presidential pardon list. Of course, we understand that typically it goes through an advisory review. In Nigeria's case, I guess by the Council of States. Given that, Moses, can the errors in this list be blamed directly on the president or those who are meant to scrutinize this list before presenting it to the president for his accent?
Well, we must blame the president because the buck stops at his table. It doesn't matter what the committee, which is headed by the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, and because before it gets to National Council of States, the Attorney General must, and his team must have vetted the list, scrutinized the list, and be sure that anyone whose name is on the list merits it. But you saw the obtuse statements issued by Bayo Onanuga, the presidential spokesman, that some of them have served some time and they have acquired some skills in prison and they've shown remorse. What remorse does a bandit or a drug dealer or a murderer or a kidnapper, what kind of remorse and what kind of skill did he acquire? So much as Mr. President did not vet the list in the first place, but the buck stops on his table. So if we must absorb the president, it means that the committee headed by the Attorney General, if I were the Attorney General, I would have resigned, because that is the height of impunity against the Constitution and our country and public sensibility. It wasn't right. So if we're absolving the president, then it means heads must roll. And it should start with the Attorney General of the Federation.
Okay, so, I mean, earlier on you gave commendation to the president for at least responding to public concerns and revisiting and revising the lists. But some people say that the step came too late, that it was an error that shouldn't have happened in the first place. How do you see it?
Yes, it's an error that shouldn't have happened, but we are human. Even Mr. President is human. But to ensure that such things do not occur in future, the Attorney General of the Federation should honorably resign or be sacked, because he was the one that that supervised that ignominious list that insulted the sensibilities of Nigeria and the work and diminished the work of Nigerian security agencies, including the NDLA and other, even our courts. So being a lawyer, the Attorney General of the Federation should do the honorable part of taking the bow and apologize to Nigerians.
Well, though we doubt that will happen, I'd like you to permit me to ask this question. Now, when procedural lapses like this occur in government, do they suggest the president who may be inexperienced or too easily influenced by those around him?
Well, like we all know, the president appointed ministers and special advisors because he recognizes that he cannot be everywhere at all the times. He also recognizes that there are certain areas that specialists are needed. In this case, the Attorney General of the Federation is more like the chief lawyer of the president and the chief legal advisor to the president and the government. And for the Attorney General of the Federation to allow this slip through, and for him to have subjected the president to this ridicule of reversing himself in this manner, I mean, he should be humble enough, be remorseful enough, just like those that were pardoned, and resign.
All right, thank you so much, Moses Idika. It was nice talking to you on the news.
Thank you very much.